probably talk to people that are, dare I say, not as public with their skepticism of mandates, be it vaccines, masks. Some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, where you got a cousin, you got an uncle, your brother, sister, your friend, someone the coworker that you discuss with, who maybe not out loud, they'll say, fuck this mask shit, or this mask mandate, I ain't with this shit. But they wouldn't dare say it in public because they fear rather being ostracized. This is why I think a lot of what's happening when it comes to the government's response to this whatever pandemic or epidemic, whatever stage you want to think that it's at, whatever, neither here nor there. The reason why I say it's based on peer pressure is because just that. A lot of people have gotten bullied into having the positions that they have right now, and the other ones are just in hiding. So they like to present themselves as more neutral, but they already have made a decision. They just wouldn't dare say it publicly. And there was a poll that was taken that kind of, take it for whatever way that you may, but it kind of points to that idea. Let's read up on it. Again, reading from Blaze says, the American people are overwhelmingly opposed to vaccine mask mandates and believe the decision on whether to get vaccinated against COVID-19 should be a personal choice, according to a new national survey. The nationwide issues survey of likely general election voters conducted by the Trafalgar Group in partnership with the Convention of the States Action found 71.4% of its respondents said taking COVID-19 vaccine should be a personal choice. Just 21.8% said it should be mandatory. And that's interesting enough. And you can see it right here. And the question I guess that it was based upon, it says, do you believe taking COVID vaccine should be mandatory, or should taking the vaccine be a personal choice? So 6.8 said they were unsure. 71.4% said it was a personal choice. 21.8% said mandatory vaccination. And looking at the report, this is out of likely general election voters. They had a response rate of 1.4% with a 3% margin of error, 95% confidence. This is all jargon if you don't understand how polls work. The methodology, you can go right here to see what it is. And yeah. And this is what they came up with. All this does is really say, and this is the age participant. They had 7. And I think this can have a lot to do with it as well. Age. Surprisingly, people that obviously the older that you, not surprisingly, it's the older that you got up until you were over the age of 65, seem to be more likely. What is this? What was the question right here? No, it's age participation right here. Never mind. Read this wrong. So the age participation in general, most of them were between the ages of 45 and 64 with 36.5%. The ones after that were of the most vulnerable age group, which is interesting. So the second highest group was 26.6%. Most of them were white. This is about akin to the population. Probably not really. This blacks are, but yeah, this is more whites, Hispanics. Here we go. Party participation was even. Basically, it was that's interesting. So I guess this probably is the most interesting part of it. Most of the people that were polled, or let's say the biggest block, the biggest demographic, were Democrats. %39.3%. Republican 35.6%. That's interesting. Look, I've talked to people that are on different sides. Most of them were female as well, which is even more interesting. Let's see here. Let's look at some of the more direct data. So 33, which is a higher percent. So 33% of the Democrats, though the column percentage of the Democrats were the ones for mandatory vaccinations. 33% of Democrat personal choice, 58.7%. 87% are almost 90% for Republicans. Either way, over half, or like a really big block of them, let's say that, of Democrats even, were like, no. Let's say the column percentage here. I'm looking at the age range, and there's nothing really important, I guess, to mention there, though it did skew 23% to 69%. So personal choice by way of female, 69% of the column percentages. Mandatory was 23.4. Men was just slightly above, which 74% of the column percentage being male. And 20% for but personal choice, that is, and 20% being mandatory vaccine. All this really says is that there are a lot of people basically in secret that are against some certain shit, but they won't ever admit it publicly. Hell, they'll even say things to the contrary publicly, purposely. But in hiding, if you have conversations with them, they're like, you know what? I'm not really with this. They don't want to participate in this. And this is why I think it's so important to, if you are in any sort of capacity to take a position that's against the grain, if you believe it to be right. I'm not saying just be a contrarian, but if you could take a position that is righteous and it feels right, and be knowledgeable on it, and be at least somewhat public with it, meaning that you have just as right to that public opinion as the others do. Unfortunately, there's only one dominating position right now because those folks have been bullied into believing something else. So when you talk about, for example, with the vaccines and everything, like I turn on even talk like sports talk radio and all of those fucking quacks saying the same shit, doom, gloom, get jabbed, all of that sort of stuff. And it's like anybody's opinion to the contrary isn't even welcome. They don't even want to hear it. But that's why that conversation, or being part of that conversation, is so public. But most importantly, despite all of that, still there's a significant amount of people who are saying, you know what, nah, I'm not with that. And a lot of them are Democrats. That's what makes it interesting. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Cannon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcannonsake.com.